Well, thanks everyone for having me. I appreciate it. This is a very honor to come speak about my experience with White Glove and the things that I've accomplished with this journey of my new career as a financial planner, as you can tell. Again, my name is Brandon Moore. I'm 24 years old. I'm a fresh advisor, came right out of college. Started about 2 years ago. And 2 years ago, I had nothing under management. I had an empty lobby. I had a decent office, thanks to Dean and Mike, but no one to come and see me, right? So I started 2 years ago, and that's when I started producing, but I would say I actually started about a year and a half ago. That's when I started doing seminars. When I started a year and a half ago, Dean and Mike pulled the trigger and basically lit the fire underneath me and said, here you go, what are you gonna do with it? So we did seminars on different topics, from government benefits to taxes to estate planning, and I just learned as much as I can. I'm a sponge here, as a new advisor. And doing that over the years, I've been able to accumulate a consistent stream of people coming into my office. It's not about just doing one seminar and and then moving on to the next and saying, oh, that didn't work. It's about continuing that process. So I started in May of 18 doing workshops, and as a new advisor, it's important that I tried everything I could. So one of the biggest workshops that I did was taxes and retirement. And I learned and I did trials and tribulations. I failed and I tried things on my own, but then I started listening to all the resources that White Glove had. I listened to Frank Maselli. I listened to Jason Smith, bucket plan training, which he'll talk about later. I listened to everything they told me and I followed it to a T. And what that allowed me to do was have a process that allowed me to close business. So I started again with no clients, and now I've been able to accumulate in about a year and a half about 15 million under management. I don't like to bring up numbers like that or brag, but it's not me. It's simply me saying I know nothing, and I want to listen to exactly what everyone is telling me to do, and I did that. So as a young advisor, knowing that if I can do it, I really believe that you can too. You guys have more knowledge in most cases than me, and sharing experiences that you've had over the years with clients. So don't ever think that, oh, well, I can't do this workshop because I don't know enough about taxes, or I'm not an estate planner, so could I do a White Glove workshop on estate planning? Don't let that take anything for granted. They'll walk you through, they'll coach you through all the things that you need to know to make sure that you're successful. And without it, again, I'd still be in my office by myself, trying to talk to family members that are close to me and do financial planning. So that's a little bit about me and who I am. But some of the areas that I want to make sure that you're conscious of when trying to do these seminars, it's consistency, like I mentioned. If you go to White Glove and you book one seminar, and what happens if it's like a day like today? People don't show up because it's snowing. You don't have to pay for anything. You pay for the people that show up. And what's nice about that is, as a young advisor with a very limited checkbook, that's important, right? And continuing to book these different seminars is going to help you further and further. Now, beyond that is the process behind it. Making sure that you have thought about, what are you going to do when you're at the seminar, when you have these people in front of you? How are you going to close them? Generally, I'll see on average about 50% people at the workshop want to meet with me. And how are you going to get them in your office, right? What's the process involved with that? White Glove has a true and tried system that's going to show you exactly what to do and do it correctly. So are there any questions right off the bat? As someone who's been in the trenches and still is, I have another workshop on Friday morning, so got to get back and prepare for that. But any questions on things that I've done and maybe I can share with you that I didn't really cover here?
How often did you do them the first year and then the second year?
At least twice a month. 2 seminars a month is a pretty standard amount that, again, if you're doing that, you're going to have enough people to fill your lobby for about 2 weeks, and then you're going to have the next 2 weeks full with another seminar. So twice a month is really, really key to making sure that you're consistent.
What's your call to action at the end of the seminar? How do you get them into the office? How do you charge them?
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like?
Yeah, so that's changed over the years. But what I've started with was my call to action was the simple things like come in for a free consultation. Remember this: free is unvaluable. People don't pay for free, right? They don't value your time. So as the scariest thing that I started to do was to start charging for financial plans. So I don't charge for meetings, but I say, well, the first meeting is a continuation of the seminar. That's my hook at the workshop. You've had a lot of questions here as we've spoke together, but a lot of them we can't answer as a group setting because they're individual needs and concerns of yours. So let's have another meeting. Let's sit down and talk directly about those questions. And then after that meeting, we'll determine if you want to pursue any sort of financial planning relationship with me. And that's where I started charging $300. I thought I was charging a lot then. That was just enough to say get the thing across the line. But then I said, okay, well, if you become a client, I'll waive the fee. I won't charge you the $300. And they liked that. But then I started to up it. Then I said, okay, I'll charge $500 for a plan, but I'll waive the fee. And then now I'm at the point where I charge $500, they don't blink an eye, and they still pay me the financial planning fee, and then they'll probably become clients after that, after I give them their recommendations. So again, remember when you're doing this, don't seem desperate or look desperate when you're in front of the group of people. You're very valuable to be up there. So don't discount that. Don't ever say free is something that you can offer, because your time is much more valuable than that. Anything else? Yes.
What's the conversion rate? So if you have 20 people show up, how many of those 20 people move to the next phase? Part one question.
Mm-hmm.
Part two question, you said you're doing 2 a month. Are you targeting the same sector with the same presentation, or the same sector with a different presentation?
Great question. So the first question, what's about the people I meet, conversion rate, right? So 20 people attend my workshop, 10 people will book appointments. I would say, on average, probably about 7 or 8 will show up, and I'll probably close between 3 to 5 of them, depending on the workshop. So again, the conversion's there. And then also, where we do these workshops. I'm in the Metro Detroit area, so about 4 hours away. Myself, basically the test track for White Glove. So you can imagine how many workshops we've done in a specific area. So if there's any area in the country that they're trying to make sure that we're doing it in a good place that will give results, that's probably the hardest place. And consistently, I have 20 people show up at my workshop, even in the most seminar populated area. So I will do. I like to do switch topics around occasionally, but primarily just estate planning and taxes, but it may be different portions of the community. So just to get different people in different walks of life. And what's good about that is you start to become kind of the expert in your area, right? They start to know who you are. I've had people in my workshops that I've seen at probably 3 or 4 workshops, and I ask, why didn't you come meet with me yet? But other than that, I've seen people at my workshops where I go to speak at a company, and there's people there who attended my taxes workshop, right? So it's credibility that it builds. All right, in the back, Jason.
Do you book appointments at the workshops? And if you do, kind of how do you go about doing that?
Yeah, so at the workshop, it's probably one of the most important things to get them while they're hot. Right? If you're letting them simmer down and think about it, just like a closing in a general financial planning meeting, they're probably going to overthink it and not do anything. So you need at that workshop to have your whether your admin, or if you don't have an admin, your wife or somebody there, or your partner, to make sure that you can get them while they're hot. So you can do that by always bringing your calendar. That's what I do. They have set appointment times blocked off. We often have a free consultation ticket in the file that says, again, here's what, especially it's easy with the attorney, you can say, well, here we normally charge $500 an hour, but you can have an hour free with us, right, when doing the estate planning. So having some sort of hook to get them while they're there is key to making sure you're meeting consistently with at least, out of that 20 that you just mentioned, at least 7 or 8 of them per workshop.
I'd like to just add a little something to the numbers for Brandon. I asked him this morning, approximately how many appointments are you running a week? Remember what you told me?
About 15 to 20.
15 to 20 appointments a week, right? So think about that. If he's doing 2 seminars per month and running 15 appointments a week, how in the world could he book the venue, take the registration, do all the follow-up sequence, all those types of things? So he's outsourced that to us at White Glove. That's how you can really turbocharge your own practice, right? Offload all that garbage that, especially us men, don't like to do, planning the wedding, right? I've done a few of them. I also want to tell you some more information about some numbers, some specific numbers. our number, the host that spends the most money with us over the last 12 months, his first name is Grant. He has some sub-reps. So this isn't just for a onesie individual necessarily, it's for practices that might have 2 or 3 or 4 sub-advisors or even many in the office. Anyway, Grant spent $540,000 with White Glove in the last 12 months. He's booked out, coming up in the, and we have many people spending well into the 6 figures, booked out into the future, because it is first come, first served, like Brad said. And there's a lot of people that want to get into his area that we have to say no to, because he's purchased all what we call the inventory, the total number of people we think we can get in those seminars every month. His closing ratio, we asked him, Brad has some great numbers on this too that he might share later on today or tomorrow. But you know how many clients he gets from each of his seminar? And now remember, he might have 12 or so in there. He gets 0.71. So he gets less than 1 client per seminar, and it's a success for him. He puts half the money in assets under management at 1%, the other half in different investment products that pay him a commission of about 5 to 6%. And it's over time extremely successful for him. It's an investment in his own practice. So, you know, we don't want to set expectations that, hey, there's going to be 20 people there and you're going to close 10 of them. That doesn't happen. Nobody can do that. Not even branded. If you're getting 1, you're doing all right. It's an investment into your practice, and over time, this pays off. So no matter what your business model is, if you take upfront commission, if you get paid over time, obviously you can do your own math. But his average new client in the first 6 months, when he picks up a new client, the average initial downstroke of how much money he manages for that person is $400,000. Now that person might have several, you know, that's just, let's say, the wife. Then the husband maybe 6 months or a year later becomes a client, and then you get the referrals from that, and so on and so forth. But in the first 6 months, the average new client brings over $400,000 with Grant and his sub-advisors. So however you and your folks do your own business model, you can kind of do the math. You're going to have plenty of people in the audience that might not be your ideal client. They might not have the assets, they might be too old, they might be too young, excuse me, but you're serving the community. This isn't just about how much money, you know, you make or the advisor makes or White Glove makes. Our entire population in the United States, and I'm sure yours as well in Canada, there is such a lack of basic information about financial wherewithal and what can I retire, how much should I spend, how should I receive my government benefits, all that kind of thing. So the other 11 or 12 people that did not become a client at Grant's seminar, Grant can feel very good, I felt very good, Brandon feels very good, that they still educated the community. And then you find out a year or 2 or 3 later, these people come out of the woodwork and say, you know, I didn't meet with you back then, or I did and didn't become a client, and then they become clients down the road. So the expectation should not be even 1 client from each seminar, just under 1 client. Sir?
From a customer experience perspective, so I'm receiving information, I'm receiving an email, a text message, or even a call from your call center. How are you identifying yourself? Are you saying you're from this gentleman's practice, or are you saying you're the White Glove? You obviously have a CRM system where you're tracking all of that. Then how does that information flow over to the advisor? And are you still having contact with those clients behind the scenes? Or once the seminar happens, and whether they show up or not, it's now in the advisor's CRM system?
What a fantastic segue for Brad's next piece here. And if anybody has any questions, we'd love to get it on tape here. That's how old I am. But we would appreciate it if you all use a microphone when you do that. So I'm going to leave this up here. Or actually, I'll just hand it to you.
And thanks, everyone. I'll be around for questions if you have any more in the trenches questions.
And by the way, Brandon drove in late last night, right after a seminar. He has, or after a client event from a seminar, a client meeting from after a seminar. He's running back, driving back to Detroit. Right after this, he has to leave at 10:30 for more appointments. And then Mason, the Brandon part of the Brayson, I got a text yesterday that his his meeting, and this doesn't happen, don't expect this, but he did an estate planning one, which brings the highest quality, not typically multimillionaires or anything, but people are worried about their wills and their estate, and like myself with a blended family, how do you take care of this group of kids, and then those group of kids, and not create chaos after one of the spouses pass away. But he met with somebody with $13 million yesterday with the estate planning attorney. So there's a lot, there's a lot of opportunity with these seminars. So thank you, Brandon, and he'll be around till 10:30.